Good afternoon and welcome to Reimagining Retail, Enactor and HP's webinar. I'm your host, Joe, and I work for Enactor. I'm the head of APJ. Joining me are two distinguished leaders, Jules Carrell, who is the Global Head of Sales for Sales and Marketing at Enactor, and Ady Chandra. He is the Regional Business Manager for HP Retail and Industry Solutions in Asia Pacific. Now, Enactor is a beacon of market leadership in the point of sale and unified commerce sphere, celebrated for our 120,000 active POS licenses worldwide and our recognition in the Gartner Market Guide. Our solutions, known for their out-of-box seamless deployment, lead the way in flexibility and are at the forefront of frictionless retail, order management, and payment solutions, with a global footprint of over 35 countries. HP, alongside Enactor, brings technological prowess to their partnership, enhancing operational efficiency and customer engagement for businesses globally. So together, Enactor and HP create a dynamic synergy, merging innovative POS and solutions and cutting-edge technology to set new standards in retail. Our collaboration is not just about technology. It's about creating a seamless, unified commerce experience that propels your business forward. So thank you for joining us today. I understand that it's taking some time out. It might be lunchtime for some of you guys or early afternoon. But thanks for joining us on this transformative journey. And now I want to hand you over to Jules, who will go through for the first part of the presentation. So over to you, Jules. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Hopefully you can all hear me. As Joe said, my name is Jules Carrell, and I've been very fortunate to have led the Enactor's charge into the global marketplace over the last several years. I've been with the company for 8 years, and I've had a sort of front row seat, you might say, to all of some of the exciting things which many retailers around the world are doing, both mainly with Enactor, but with Enactor with this kind of unified commerce context that we're here to talk about a little bit today. Yeah, and of course we're quite short on time today, so today is very much about giving you guys a little bit of a flavour about what we're seeing across the marketplace, and giving you a little bit of inspiration between myself and Ady on some of the trends and some of the new ways that some of the leading brands are thinking in this new world of retail in which we live. You know, this highly connected, highly fast-moving world of retail. Yeah. So hopefully I'll be able to give you some insights today. So first of all, I thought I'd break it down and just have a think about, okay, well, what is unified commerce? Yeah, what is this thing that, certainly if you've attended any of the major trade shows in recent years, like NRF, or the fabulous RTN show in London, yeah, you would have seen this phrase unified commerce sort of banded around, yeah, and so it's obviously best to start with some of the fundamental basics, yeah. So first of all, unified commerce is absolutely what we would say a business strategy that means that the customer can have a consistent experience across any sort of travel in any sort of channel in which they engage with a brand or a retailer's operations. Yeah, and I think we're all familiar as people who are in retail with this concept of a customer journey. Yeah. And for many years, the concept of having multiple channels glued together, yeah, or indeed all channels glued together, has been around for some years, yeah. But part of the pitfalls and part of the problems of delivering omni-channel, delivering multi-channel, yeah, has been that it's relied very, very heavily, yeah, on very much siloed type systems, yeah, systems which are not very natural for being integrated with one another and not very natural for interoperating to the extent where you can actually genuinely deliver this kind of seamless experience. This experience where you can have a client who genuinely can look at a product, whether it's in store, online, on their phone, on their smart speaker, etc. Yeah, and genuinely be able to have access to real-time information of where the inventory is of something that they might buy. Yeah, where the context of the transaction is very much in the retailer knowing who this person is. Yeah. And so as we move from a sort of multi-channel, omni-channel world into a sort of much more unified commerce world, yeah, what the market has relied on and is increasingly relying on is people like Enactor and other vendors to bring much more of a modern single platform type approach, yeah, which generally allows a retailer to unify exactly how they can treat their customers in their way. And we've been very fortunate over the last few years as one of the disrupting vendors in this space, yeah, work with a variety of different types of clients in different types of retail, whether it's department stores, you know, grocery, whether it's sports stadiums, whether it's homewares, whether it's luxury, whether it's large retailers, small retailers, whether they're in Europe, the US, Latin America, or indeed in Asia Pacific. Yeah, we've been I've been very, very fortunate to get a front row seat into what are people thinking in delivering their version of what unified commerce means. You know, what are the customer journeys which are specific to that retailer? And that's the sort of place that I think this conversation needs to start, right? This conversation needs to start with the very much fundamental point, which is that unified commerce means different things to different retailers. Yeah. And to some people that might be obvious, but actually what we find that we're coming from when we move into these large complex brands, yeah, is that historically, you know, the way that they trade, the way that they're allowing customers to transact, have actually even been very similar to one another as brands. You know, it's very much been about, you know, yes, we will have our merchandise on shelves, we'll have a nice, you know, store environment, yeah, but fundamentally the sort of checkout experience, the you know, the paying experience, you know, with the point of sale, and the general environment has been very much homogenous between various different brands, and absolutely in lieu of that, yeah, so has the experience online, and so have the types of customer journeys that customers are able to transact. Yeah, so what we've really found is that actually is that once we move into the modern world of unified commerce, that it much more becomes less of a conversation about less of a conversation of, okay, what is the experience in individual channels, yeah, but the conversation much more comes into what are the ways in which we can leverage the channels together to offer completely different experiences that we weren't able to do before. And that's not quite what we expected as technology vendors. Yeah, as technology vendors, you know, we expected that mainly our our exposure in a consultative environment would be you know, isolated in purely around the technology. Yeah, but what we've unfortunately one of the vendors that's been disrupting this market and been involved in these transformations, we've found that actually it's a conversation about what is the new way of retailing for a brand. Yeah. And I think some of the things that we found from our experience, and hopefully that's, you know, useful to you guys. The first way to think about a new way of delivering, you know, retail and unified commerce is to think about the new ways in which the store is used within a retail organization. Yeah. That if the store is, yes, it will always be a place that people can come in, look at products, pick up products and transact, yeah, but actually there's a whole set of new type experiences, yeah, which are really quite different from one another. They might even be different, you know, within individual location, yeah, but absolutely are quite specialized to that individual brand. Yeah, and I've got some examples here. So for example, we've absolutely seen that in this unified commerce world, the role of the store for some retailers has become absolutely about cultivating a relationship with customers. Yeah, the unified commerce for some customers, for example, in luxury type environments, yeah, is absolutely about making sure that we are empowering store associates, yeah, we're in a sort of personal shopping or assisted shopping type environment by, for example, driving down good product information to an application, by, for example, giving good customer data information to the client so that they can have more of a sort of conversation with customers within the store environment. Where, for example, we are not just emphasizing you know, typical sort of take now type transactions, but we're also thinking about, okay, well, you know, maybe we're trying to facilitate orders. Yeah. And therefore, the role of the store in this environment is to be quite inviting, yeah, but it's very much data-driven personal/assistant shop. At the same time, yeah, we've also seen where actually the role of the store is actually really less about raw transactions and take now transactions, but particularly in sort of low volume, high value type environments, it's also absolutely very much around the store being a product showroom. There's some fantastic statistics out there about how the online ordering volume in a sort of within a certain radius around a store, there is a halo effect. Yeah. So for example, if you have a store on a sort of a busy high street, I can think of some of the sort of nice high streets near where I live in central London. Yeah. And actually, if you look at the statistics around where major brands have stores, yeah, is where you get a much higher order volume. And so therefore, the role of the store in that type of sort of unified commerce environment, yeah, is absolutely about making sure that the product and the brand is presented to customers in a nice way, and therefore from a technology perspective and a unified commerce perspective, that we are fulfilling and delivering the right types of data, the right types of applications, the right types of hardware for that type of environment, because hardware in these type of environments is very important. Yeah, and of course. And what we found as a technology provider, the type of requirements and the sort of burden and the sort of challenges around delivering a solution are really quite unique in that type of environment. Completely aside from that, yeah, one of the really big moves for some retailers in the form of modern unified commerce has been the move towards stores playing a role as a kind of remote warehouse or distribution center. Yeah. And this is where, for example, our role as a unified commerce vendor is either to provide sophisticated order management capabilities or to integrate with what you might call modern order management platforms, yeah, where you can have sophisticated orchestration of orders which take advantage of the store being a location which is nearer to, you know, maybe particular pockets of clients, but also as a location which has its own pool of inventory. Yeah. And in a typical legacy multi-channel, purely omni-channel world, yeah, where yes, you're selling to multiple channels, but actually what we found and what we've seen is that typically retailers will sell to different channels, like for example, might sell wholesale to stores, they might sell online, they might sell through third party marketplaces. Yeah, then actually they've been unable to specialize the pool of inventory. They've been unable to genericize the pool of inventory between the various different channels. And what we found is that modern unified commerce allows you to unify the use of inventory so that you can actually use technology to make sure that your stores can play a role in the form of remote warehousing. So that, for example, you can do click and collect from store stock. You can deliver to home from store stock. You are not having to always generate orders that come from the warehouse, yeah. And you can be much more sophisticated about how you use your inventory as part of the unified commerce model and the omnichannel journey. On the complete flip side to all of those things, yeah, is of course the idea of frictionless purchases. And I know Ady's going to talk a bit later on about how the role of hardware and what that can mean in a frictionless type environment, because we all know that actually, the majority of retail transactions will be, someone comes into store, they pick up some goods, and they go home again. And in quite a lot of those different types of environments, the unified commerce experience, has to be omnichannel. It has to be connected. You have to have access to real-time data, but at the same time, you want it to be frictionless. You want it to be easy for customers to buy your products. You want to, for example, have nice, self-service, or kiosk type options so that people can pick up goods, really quite easily. Yeah. These types of specialized, use cases for stores are a really big part of modern unified commerce, and these are what we've seen. Now, what are the business benefits that come off the back of that? Well, first of all, is that retailers can get a much better yield of their inventory. Yeah. So, for example, in these type of remote warehouse type environments, yeah, it can be. We've got retailers who they say that the ability to use the inventory in their stores, yeah, is an absolute game changer for the profitability and even the whole idea of how they see the role of the store within their business. So, for example, we've got retailers who historically wanted to, in the past have always wanted to open stores overseas, yeah, but of course they felt that in the past, without a real modern unified commerce type platform, they wouldn't be able to, build a warehouse or distribution center, yeah, which could actually service stores in overseas countries, yeah. Well, actually, with a modern unified commerce type approach, where the store itself is its own warehouse, yeah, that's completely changed the business case for opening up locations overseas. Yeah. In an environment which does have friction, which does have that relationship, what we've seen is that the real business benefit is that store associates, which are empowered with modern unified commerce type tools, really do have the ability to service customers and basically use their time more effectively when they're not with the client. So for example, by communicating with high value clients on new products that are being introduced, and be able to communicate with clients when there's nothing going on the sort of shop floor. On top of that, what we found is that many unified customers who are trying to adopt a modern unified commerce approach are trying to process sales and orders and convert orders, yeah, at a much higher rate using technology, with solutions like endless aisle in the store, as well as the ability to facilitate, a more wide degree of customer journeys like click and collect, etc. Yeah, that the profitability and the revenue from stores can really go up. And then lastly, we all know, in retail that the ability for us to offer more journeys and more capabilities is going to be good for customer retention. Customer retention, the ability for retailers to customers to leverage data and things that they've had before is absolutely critical. Yeah. So I think that from our experience, we've seen that particularly one of these sort of accelerations since COVID, that these are really sort of important trends. These concepts have been around for the last couple of years, I'd say. Yeah, our partners over at Gartner have really thought about some of the sort of ways to address these types of challenges. Yeah, and sort of the Gartner recommendation is that unified commerce platforms, which are anchored by point of sale, yeah, have continued to evolve, yeah, and to support the needs of retail business in line with new and emerging customer behaviors. Yeah, and I think what sort of the Gartner guys are stressing, which is that unified commerce has to absolutely include the store. Yeah. And therefore, some of the technologies that are within the store, breaking them out to make them more holistic, is absolutely one of the mechanisms and one of the routes to delivering a sort of overall sort of unified commerce type model. Yeah. And if obviously, even in countries like the UK, which has a very sophisticated e-commerce market, if you look at the overall transactions which happen in the store, it's still around 70 or even over 70%, and therefore in lots of other markets it's sort of even higher than that. Yeah. And the reason that from Enactor's experience and all the projects and programs that we've involved with, as I've shown with some very high profile retailers, yeah, is that the store in terms of technology transformation absolutely has its own set of challenges. Yeah, whether it comes to offline capability, whether it comes to the fact that these are applications which are being put onto hardware. Yeah, store application and store transformation and point of sale replacement, yeah, is not the same as a website. Yeah. Whilst vendors like Enactor can absolutely bring some of the fantastic disciplines and skills and ways of working that people do on the web into a store type transformation, we still have to respect the sanctity of the store. It is a very unique environment. It's unique to each retailer, as we've spoken about. Yeah, and that's even more special when it comes to unified commerce. Yeah. And therefore, there are a whole set of different challenges which should be respected when it comes to these types of projects. At the same time, there are absolutely a whole set of rewards, because I think we all see, and we've probably all experienced in our lives as consumers, yeah, let alone as people in retail, that there are so many wins to be had in that experience in the store. And if we can get that right, yeah, then there really are fantastic opportunities for lots of retailers to make sure that they deliver a store experience which is in line with their flavor of unified commerce. Yeah. At the same time, a lot of unified commerce is not possible without modern technology, right? Enactor is very proudly the member of a group of technology evangelists called the Mac Alliance. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Mac Alliance, we are a group of technology companies who really believe in a modern approach of microservice first, API based, or API fit, cloud native, and a headless type of approach, where we are using the right and modern architectures for delivering enterprise systems and applications. And it's without that type of modern approach, these types of transformations are just not possible. The integrations between the different types of systems, whether it's point of sale, ERP, order management, loyalty, basket, promotions, whatever the different systems might be, without those architectural principles underlying, sitting beneath them, these delivering a unified commerce type approach just simply isn't possible. Next, we fully believe in open architectures and extensibility. And I don't want to get too technical today, but fundamentally, you should think about platforms like Enactor, the platforms that are going to make this possible, as ones which can be changed easily. Because actually, for retailers to really get their version of unified commerce, it's going to rely on a lot of different systems to talk to each other, which fundamentally weren't initially, intended to talk to each other. Fundamentally, they might have been intended to talk to something and to equivalent type systems, but fundamentally, retailers have dozens, if not hundreds, of different systems and applications, which all are within their landscape, and to deliver unified commerce, these all need to really talk to each other, and for that they also need to be very quick and easy to change. And that's where vendors like Enactor really focus a lot of effort, making sure that our solutions are very, very easy to change. In order to make unified commerce possible, even the right hardware solutions, and absolutely, we see that legacy hardware solutions within your stores as retailers absolutely can hold you back in terms of speed of change, in terms of security, in terms of deployability, and in terms of actually quite fundamentally getting your staff excited. Delivering a modern unified commerce type approach means that you really need all sorts of different people on board, and that actually includes the people in your stores as well. And if you give them nice hardware in your stores, next, and this is a really important point, is ownership. In the past, retailers, I think, have managed, to have large IT projects done to them. They kind of lie down, and vendors and systems integrators can do projects to them. But if any retailer is coming to the table and looking to really undertake the really big transformation that is becoming a unified commerce type retailer, the first thing we tell them is that you have to be able to do things yourselves. You have to make decisions, you have to make designs, but you also need to understand the systems in which you're implementing. You need to embrace a new way of working, where your internal teams can not just understand the systems, not just even be able to talk about how they glue together, but actually need to understand how to use the different platforms themselves. And so that's why vendors like Enactor, we really fundamentally believe that we are not just selling you a fantastic platform, we are also training you on how to take the benefits of Enactor, whether it's setting us up, deploying it, or even developing and extending it yourselves. And without that, the unified commerce world is so difficult to deliver that actually without that, we really don't think it's possible without internal ownership. And lastly, in a part of this internal ownership also requires cross-departmental collaboration. These projects are not just IT projects, guys. They absolutely are. They are holistic business level, cross-business level initiatives. And strategies, and therefore they require the alignment not just of IT, not just technology, not even just operations, but of many different types, many different departments being open to working together to work in new ways. So, for example, one retailer once raised to us. This is a big retailer based in Scandinavia. They said that one of the big fundamental ways of them becoming a unified commerce retailer is that their finance and procurement needed to think differently about how they bought systems. They can't typically just work on sort of the annual budget type basis where they know everything they're going to buy essentially a year in advance. They need to be much more agile. They need to be able to release bits, small bits of money, or even relatively large bits of money, yeah, on a much more short-term basis, much more agile type basis, yeah. And without that, they simply wouldn't be able to have the kind of incremental type spending, which was conducive with the incremental and the agile type way of working that was going to deliver unified commerce. And that was something I never really thought of before. I never thought that actually, one of the things that might be holding people back might be the way in which they buy systems, they buy services, or they buy. At the same time, becoming a unified commerce retailer is not just about technology. It's also about making sure that you actually have the merchandise and the product and also the marketing, yeah, to back up everything that you're delivering. So making sure that the consumers know to download your app, to make sure that consumers are actually given the right products that they want to buy in these new channels, in these new initiatives. Yeah. So this is absolutely not just about an IT challenge. It is absolutely about moving towards all departments being working together to deliver a unified commerce strategy. The first thing to do is to choose a unified single unified commerce platform, something that really unifies both applications in the store, like point of sale, self-checkout, clienteling, and things like an agile, but at the same time provides a genuine platform of things like order management, as well as a set of central microservices for commerce, which can be that sort of common sort of back end for all channels. And once you have that common back end, you can really unify promotions, baskets, orders for all channels, and you can therefore make it much easier for retailers to transact. And then on top of that, in line with this model of taking much more ownership, we absolutely believe that you should buy a platform, which is a product. It is not a just cobbled together in a set of technology from services, but buy a core product, but then take ownership of that product. So for example, in a product like Enactor, we train customers on how to configure it. We train customers on how to develop it. We train customers on how to use the APIs and how to integrate with it. And therefore, by not just buying a fantastic product out of the box, but by taking ownership internally and being powered with tools, we absolutely believe that unified commerce can be delivered for this modern way, but by empowering teams and not shutting them off, from being able to deliver a retailer's individual flavor of unified commerce. So I'll leave it there. They're just my sort of pennies worth from 20 minutes. I know, I do apologize. I know I've gone a little bit over, but thank you very much. I look forward to taking any questions at the end.
Thank you, Jules. Ady, would you like to take over the screen and present?
Thank you for the opportunity for me to share. Okay, so good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. Joe has introduced me earlier. My name is Ady Chandra, and on the screen right now, you can actually see my email ID as well, just in case that you would like to contact me. I have been the head of HP Retail and Industry Solution in the past, I think, 4 years. This afternoon or this morning, what I would like to share with you is a set of belief that HP has in retail solutions. So if you like, this is a set of what we believe in, basically the principles of what we have in developing our portfolio that we offer to you, right? So this is really the things that underlies what we are actually currently doing in shaping up our portfolio, in shaping up our offering and products for all our customers. I think, first of all, what we believe is actually in enhancing experience. And this is not only for customers, primarily for customers' experience, but it is also for the sales staff experience as well. Okay, let's take a look. The first belief that we have is that the stores in the future will become omnimorphic, right? I would be surprised if you have actually heard the word omnimorphic. We have heard about omnichannel. It is actually a combination of online, offline, hybrid, like buy online, pick up at the stores, and so on. Actually, HP actually created this word because we believe, again, stores will be more than just being omnichannel, right? So there are actually other dimensions like experience, like brand loyalties, that actually make up what a future store will be, and hence the word omnimorphic, more from the form, and it is actually changing of the form itself. Right? Let's take a look into a video that I have prepared for you that can possibly describe a little bit more about omnimorphic. Joe, let me know if you cannot hear the voice.
Escada is one of the leading luxury brands for women's fashion in the world. Our passion is creating clothing that celebrates women. The Escada woman is a strong, self-confident woman who owns her own style. On retail side and wholesale side, the customers want to be treated like a VIP. We had in mind already for some time to create a mobile POS experience, because in the past we had a regular point of sale unit. It was nothing special. The customers were able to see the peripherals, the cables. Also, it was a fixed setup on a desk and doesn't fit properly to a luxury environment. We selected HP and the HP Engage Go because that's a unit which is unique on the market. Now everything is running on the Engage Go, powered by the 7th generation Intel Core i5 processors with vPro. In retail, the design factor is really important for us. The HP Engage Go, it has good aesthetics fitting to the luxury environment. All the cables are hidden. We're using a pole mount stand and docking station, so the entire package is a seamless experience. The HP Engage Go as a mobile device, it has all the functionality, reliability and features we require. Our sales associate has all the information, so the customer is not required to move anywhere for finishing the shopping process. We bring everything to the customer. On the wholesale side, we were able to realize process improvements. Our old ordering tool was not able to handle multiple orders at the same time. The new HP Engage Go is powerful enough to handle all those orders in parallel. With the integrated scanner on the device, you can scan the products the customer wants. It gets collected into the order right away. You are not taking away the product from the shelf. So when you have multiple customers in the showroom at the same time, everything is available for everyone. We are enhancing the VIP treatment and we are supporting that much better than we did in the past. HP is the biggest global supplier who takes the retail environment serious. HP provides something you cannot find anywhere else on the market.
All right, so you have seen probably more clearly of what I meant with omnimorphic. You heard the customer actually says, we bring everything to customers, and you see how the experience of the customers is enhancing brand loyalty of the vendor itself, right? Of our customers, in this case is Escada. And you may think that, oh, this is really just applicable to luxury brands. It is not actually. There are more and more mainstream customers who are really embracing this so-called omnimorphic. They are really going all out actually to enhance the experience of the customers. You actually can see even banks are actually enhancing the client experience by bringing coffee, setting up the branches in the coffee. So it is actually applicable to many other industries as well. And I can tell you, so even like some furniture shop, they are also doing something similar to this already, right? So it is not just confined to luxury industries. We believe technology must be invisible. That means that, you know, it just works. And there are many technologies currently that is just invisible, right? Take one example, electricity. You don't know how the electricity is generated. You don't know how it is actually sent to your house. You just plug in your device, you switch on, it just works, right? The other technology that is invisible that we have been using every day is internet, right? You don't know how the data is actually routed. There's so many complex underlying cabling, routers, you know, regulations involved in all these kind of things, right? Firewall, security, very complex technology, but, you know, it just invisible. It just works for you, right? But there are situations where technology cannot be invisible. It is actually the case where the technology must actually interact with the customers. In this case, is retail solutions, right? The technology cannot just be made invisible. The POS must be visible to the customers. And that is actually where we believe technology must be beautiful, right? Technology must be something that is not bulky. It is designed nicely. It will enhance the customer eyes at the same time, you know, enhancing the brand experience of the customers as well. Let's just take a couple of examples of photographs. Mind you, this is not a photograph that is actually set up in the photo studio. This is a real stores, that I just took using my mobile phones when I actually go around and visiting the stores, right? So hopefully you will agree that this is actually a beautiful setup. It is actually a stationery store in Tokyo, in Japan, right? It is a real store, like what I said, and there's no special lighting, no nothing. I just snap it using my mobile phones, right? And you will see the HP POS down there. I hope you will agree that it is beautiful as well, enhancing the beauty of the stores, right? Let's look at something that is more busy, right? This is a cafe. And again, I must say that the cafe is beautiful, but then out of all this busyness of all the decor, you will see Nestle in the middle of the table here is the HP POS, right? Which again, hopefully you will see it is really gel into the overall decor, and it will actually really enhancing the overall customer experience when they are actually in the cafe or in the restaurant itself, right? Again, it's projecting the brand. It is not something that is weighing down your experience, your customer experience, and weighing down your brand. Right? If you imagine it's a bulky, plasticky device, even if you set up a very nice, it will just looks cheap, and it will water down your branding and water down the image of your stores, right? So that is actually what we believe, that it has to really be beautiful when technology is feasible to customers. Let me just then move on to the next belief that we have. We believe customer experience should be frictionless, right? And this is also something that I think Jules has actually mentioned earlier as well. Let me just go into frictionless concepts here. First of all, is self-service. I think this is actually common right now. It actually improves efficiency, and I would probably say this day it become a necessity, right? Very often now I actually look at the stores, and if it doesn't have a self-service and I see the line in the cashier is building up, probably I would just leave my stuff and then just walk out. So it becomes a necessity. It improves efficiency. It is making less friction, right? And the other thing is actually frictionless payment, because payment actually is one of the main frictions in the whole retail transactions, right? You have to stop, you have to actually take out your phone or take out your wallet or things like that, right? And when you pay using cards, right, there is actually a physical friction as well if you are actually using card that is swiped or that is actually dipped to actually read the chipset, right? So it is really frictionful in that sense, right? That's why HP is actually moving more and more into contactless, and we are actually putting NFC chips in all our all-in-one products as well as mobile product, and the NFC can actually be enabled to facilitate contactless payment without external payment terminals, right? Using the soft POS. So again, this is what we believe, and that is actually moving on. We believe in frictionless store as well. This is unmanned. So this is actually where customers can just go in, show their identity, validate their identity. They go to the store, they just pick up things and then just go out without having to check out. And all the things that he actually carry with him will automatically be charged to the account, to the credit cards and so on, right? So again, you may be asking, then in that case, do we still need a POS? The answer may be no. We will actually see less POS in that kind of situation, but you still need the unified commerce. You need the software more and more. And then secondly, from HP perspective, instead of trying to sell more POS, we are actually investing in some of the technology that actually facilitate frictionless stores. So again, it is believed these are fundamental things that we actually use to create our own portfolio and chart our future, right? The next belief that we have is actually going back to the fundamentals. We believe in the fundamentals, really, the security, the device hardening, the sustainability, as well as the long availability. What I mean by all these things, first of all, about hardenings, right? We believe that for POS, we need to be even more durable and even more reliable than just a commercial PC, right? So it is actually a notch higher than a commercial PC. How often do you touch your PC or your tablet for that matter? And compare that look at how the storekeeper actually touch the screens in the stores, right? And when the store are busy, just like some bakeries or some grocery stores, right? They probably are actually using the system, touching the screens like almost every minute, every seconds, right? Because even the customers are actually queuing to pay, right? So again, it has to be more durable, it has to be reliable, and that is actually what HP is actually doing with all HP Engage POS. We also put in gold plating. You know, it's easy to describe, but it is hard to show it to you, right? Because it's gold plating are actually in the connectors, right? Even if you open up, you find those gold plated, right? You cannot really tell whether it is actually a good gold plating or not. But for HP internally, we actually adopt the highest grade of gold plating in terms of thickness. For example, you can't really see, you know, comparing HP versus the competitors, how thick the gold plating, unless you bring it to the lab, right? So sometimes it is actually difficult for us to prove, but this is actually what we are doing, right? We are actually using high grade components. We are even testing for IP rated. Probably HP is the only device, the only vendors that actually do IP rating for all-in-one devices, right? It is sanitizable, and it is also tested against electromagnetic interference. Right? We definitely build a secure devices. We have many security measures inside the OS, below the OS, as well as above the OS. For sure, you know, HP is also one of the leader manufacturers for sustainability. We take a lot of effort actually to make our device to be energy efficient. We use earth-friendly packaging, as well as we use as much as possible recyclable material as well. And what is important also is the long availability. For our products, after we launch to the public, we are actually selling the product for 5 years. This is again different from commercial PC or even for your phone, right? Your phone will keep changing every year, and likewise, the commercial devices also keep changing every year, right? So it is very common for you to see iPhone 11, 12, 13, 14 every year, right? Or in computer, it's probably generation 1, generation 2, generation 3 every year, right? For us, most of our products are actually 5 years. Why? Because many of our customers, they actually want stabilities, right? They want predictability. They do not want to change year after year. They do not want to retest the software year after year to use different hardware or to use same hardware with different configuration and things like that. So again, 5 years is actually very important. And plus, we actually have 5 years support after the 5 years. So if you are actually buying HP POS at the beginning of the ramp up, you will be able to have 10 years total of fully supported systems. So just a quick look at the HP portfolio, very simple, you know, the HP Engage products. We have the all-in-one family, we have the modular family, we have convertible that can be switched from mobile into a fixed POS and vice versa. And we also have the self-service kiosk as well. Again, what we believe that I mentioned earlier, they are all incorporated into these products because again, you know, like NFC, this what we believe is in frictionless. You know, we believe in the self-service. That's why we actually introduced the self-service kiosk. Really, what we believe that I share with you really define what we are offering right now. And who is HP? You know, you may not already be aware that actually HP is already #1 POS vendor in the world. The name that you probably have heard in the past, like Diebold Nixdorf, like NCR, like Toshiba, you know, they are all below HP already in terms of shipments worldwide, right? So we have actually been outpacing market growth in the past 10 years, and that is why we actually become #1. In Asia Pacific, we are climbing up as well. You know, we are gaining market already in the past 2 years, and we definitely are working our way to the top as well. So that is actually what we where we are and who HP in retail solutions. Just take a look at some of the customers that we have in Asia. By no means this is comprehensive. We have a lot more, and we have some joint account with Enactor as well. So if these customers trust their business to HP, I believe it is something that can be also encouraging for you as well. And I've actually shared what HP believe, right? HP believe in enhancing customer experience as well as sales staff experience. HP believe in the omnimorphic. HP believe in the frictionless stores. HP believe in the fundamentals. HP believe in beautiful devices. So if your belief in running your retail business overlap with HP, it is something that we can definitely explore together. For sure that we can actually do a good partnership between you, HP, and Enactor, based on what I shared with you of what we actually believe. All right, I return this back to you, Joe. We can open up for question and answer.
Thank you very much, Ady. That was fantastic. And of course, thank you very much as well to you as well, Jules.
One of the things that you can do is that you can have more modern systems that work in parallel. Yeah. So for example, we've had clients who might implement mobile POS, yeah, alongside, for example, fixed POS type solutions, and they can sort of run those in parallel, or they might deploy sort of self-checkout type solutions alongside. What you can do in the short term as well is that you can start thinking about, well, what are the type sort of centralized type service, the kind of middleware that you might want to implement, yeah, and you would sort of analogize that as what are the kinds of the core, what is the core sort of fundamentals, the core the core structure that you can implement in terms of modern solutions, which can then add as that sort of central engine for unified commerce. Yeah. The next steps would be to essentially isolate the kind of the areas in which which are the core of your business. It might be particular technical domains. So for example, like a basket, well, where does the basket within your organization sit? And therefore off the back of that, go, well, where does promotion sit? Where does orders sit? Yeah. And really think about that kind of microservice landscape, yeah, and build that out there.
Fantastic. Ady, would you like to add anything to that question?
Yeah, I think it really depends on what it is meant with the tech that you actually want to integrate to. If it is hardware, usually it is easier than if you are actually trying to integrate with the software pieces behind, where you really need to actually see the integrations. But my thought is that you first, I think, need to have the strategy, then you actually implement. If you really want to integrate with the technology, you look at from the software perspective first, right? And then for the hardware, you can definitely try this out to actually run on the specific hardware. You do a POC, test the software functionality within the selected hardware, and if, let's say, you want to integrate with, for example, frictionless payment, NFC, there's actually more specific. Again, you probably need to integrate with the HP partners that offer all this solution as well, in terms of soft POS, in terms of connectivity, in terms of payment integration. So really can't really pinpoint, but there is always a way. And if you are interested, maybe you can actually reach out to us, to Enactor, Joe, Jules, or myself. Then we can talk a little bit more specific about that. Yeah.
I'm very sorry, Sharon, but there's a little element of how long is a piece of string. I generally think because unified commerce is specific to each retailer, yeah, how long it takes you to get to your kind of end state, really depends on its nature. It also depends on sort of where you're starting. But what I will say though is that you can get going really, really quite quickly. I think that what we've seen is that customers, the approach they take, yeah, is to try and get a system in quickly, particularly, for example, a point of sale implementation done quickly. Let's say in something like, a basic application in one store, one department or something within, 3 months or something. Yeah. And then basically, as part of doing that, you are putting in, as I mentioned before, some of the core foundations for iterating after that. Yeah. And then I think that what we have to think less about is that unified commerce is actually just a particular one point in time, a particular end state, yeah, but is really something which is continually evolved as the business evolves, yeah. However, what I will say is that you should be thinking about trying to get, to the foundations of that kind of iterative process within a few months, yeah, and certainly within a year or something, yeah, you should be well on your way, yeah. But of course, it depends on where you're really trying to go.
Yeah, thanks, Dimitri, for asking these questions. Like what I mentioned earlier, omnimorphic is actually a word that is actually coined by HP. We have actually a team of strategists who are actually looking at a far horizon into the future to see where we are actually playing, what type of technology that's actually coming to us, and also how the industry itself will actually evolve, how hospitality industry will evolve, how retail industry will evolve, what kind of new trend that is actually coming. So we actually analyze all these things, right? And we can actually see clearly, for examples, before COVID, they are pretty much brick and mortar stores, right? A lot of offline store. Yes, online store has actually picked up, but during COVID is actually where the online store really picked up. And it is not just groceries, it's not just book or music or whatever, but almost everything you can actually buy online. Some of the things, including food, then you can actually buy online, order, and then you pick up or it being delivered to you, and all those things, right? So HP actually see increasingly that it is not just online, offline, as well as the hybrid between online and offline, right? It is for retail. It is also it also has other dimensions. Like I mentioned, experience is one key dimension for retail that we cannot just describe within online, the omni-channel, right? And one key important thing is branding of the customers. Again, this is intangible, very intangible. It is not in the channel. It is not in whether it is offline or online, whatever. And the whole things will add up into brandings, right? And for many customers, branding is very important, especially in retail, because that is actually how you set yourself apart from competition. That is how it will actually dictate whether you can command a price premium or not, depending on how you actually play up your branding, depending on how you enhance your brandings, right? And so, HP understand all these things from a long-term perspective, and we are actually thinking, but what is a word that can actually convey all this dimension to our customers and encapsulate all these ideas into a single, easy to understand, easy to say concept, right? So, the strategists actually come up with this word omnimorphic. so that's actually how it comes about, but other than the word itself, it's really the belief that HP has about all these dimensions of retail and hospitality industries. And again, this is what we believe, and it is something. If it's something that you believe as well, that means that we have overlap belief and overlaps of interest. It's probably really good for us actually to be able to work together. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I think we should now morphic into the end of the call, but it's fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Jules, for the fantastic presentation and answer the questions. And Ady, thank you so much for being part of the call and being a great partner with us at Enactor. But again, thank you so much and have a great rest of the day.